some pre-ban list reading. Welcome back to Top of the Deck, guys. It's a Bats here, and I'm actually kind of in the middle of something right now, doing a little bit of a deck profile for you guys, but not right now, actually. Right now, we needed to talk about something a little more important. We needed to talk about the ban list. Yeah, ban list season. Everyone's worried about their cards. Everyone's worried about their decks. Don't worry, I don't think it's going to be that bad. So I thought I'd go ahead and whip up a prediction video, but the problem with prediction videos is you always get a, oh, you're right about this, wrong about this, you know, so sawed off. I don't care about prediction videos. You know what I do care about? Wish lists, though. So I'm going to go ahead and make a little wish list for all the changes I want on the ban list. I picked 10 cards that I want to see either more of or less of in the current metagame and just in the game in general, for casual players, for competitive players, just to make things a little more interesting, a little more chaotic, which is the way I like the game. So let's go ahead and start the video with a solid 15 likes. If we can go ahead and get 15 likes on this video, I know there are 200 some subscribers. I think we can get 15 of you guys to like this, assuming that you actually like the video. So that's a big plan there. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. The ban section, the first thing I want is Lyrilusk Independent Nightingale, because that's a horrible threat to a deck that I love, Pendulum Magicians, because it has an FTK. And you know what? It's pretty unnecessary, especially with a combination of Starving Venom Dragon and just how powerful that is. So, sorry Lyrilusk players, you guys are going to have to take one for the team. Also, Gem Knight players, I caught you laughing over there. Don't get comfortable. You guys were this close to me calling Brilliant Fusion because of your stupid FTK. So, don't get comfortable. You're next after Nats, alright? I'm gonna let it go till Nats, then after that, another thing I actually want to see banned is Estragon Diagram. I don't really care about Masterpiece. You know me, I like to play the big grandiose decks with the big grandiose boss monsters that are immune to things and, you know, that force you to battle. And, you know, just because I like the battle, but Draconic Diagram, it hits two decks, so it hits the Dinos, which are already kind of, you know, mid-tier, kind of tier 3 right now, as well as 2 Draco, which is, again, the only other real competitor for Pendulum Magicians in the competitive format right now. So that would free up a spot there. Historically, Konami doesn't really hit field spells. But what about Dragon's Ravine? Shut up, Team Outcast. I heard you, Corey. That was an actual conversation we had, but in all seriousness, yeah, they don't usually go after field spells. I mean, we got broken things like Necro Valley, but otherwise we're talking Necro Valley, Sky Iris, Cosmo Town, Union Hanger, the list goes on. A lot of broken field spells out there that don't really need to be out there, so I'll just go ahead and hope for 0. I don't think it's going to get banned. It'll probably just get dropped down to 1 if it does. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and go on to the one-ofs. I'll go ahead and put Scapegoat in there. I don't want to see Scapegoat banned. That's been a hallmark card since the game's inception, and it's been limited before and been in various parts of the ban list. I don't think it deserves to get back on that ban list just because new cards can use it. But I understand the problem with it. You can get into some really easy Skull Deep plays and things like that, so I'm fine with limiting it to 1. Another thing I wanted to go ahead and talk about was Heavy Metal Foe's Elektra Mind. I'm willing to drop that down to 1 because you still have the Supreme King Starving Venom to duplicate the effect, and because Metal Foes need their boss monster. It's the same problem that you have with Brilliant Fusion and Seraphinite. Yeah, it goes in everything. Same deal with Elektra Mind. It goes in everything pendulum based, but it's a Metal Foes card. The fact of the matter, it has Metal Foes in its name. Metal Foes deserve to have some access to their boss monsters, so they have some level of playability. So I'm willing to limit it to 1. Most of us only play 2 of this card anyway. If you need it, you need it. It's just, you know, by the time that you get into the second one, you usually have so much advantage that you don't really need the rest of it, which I think is really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and say we'll limit that 1 to 1. While we're on the same subject, we'll talk about Astrograph Sorcerer. Again, it's a boss monster for the Pendulum deck, and it gets into Zark. Yeah, I know Chronograph gets into Zark too, but I don't like Chronograph being the Zark summoner. I feel like Astrograph should be the Zark summoner, and that also helps with the absolute plays. Willing to limit that to 1, then you'll still be able to hand loop it and things like that, and if it gets banished, then you're in a pretty rough spot. Makes your Electromite considerably less powerful, so those 2 hits, without utterly decimating the deck, will reduce the power level and the consistency to a fair point, I think. This is where it becomes a wish list. 1 double Iris Magician. I think with 1 you can't readily hand loop it quite as easily, especially since you can't search another copy off of Astrograph. You're gonna have to flip everything back with the Elektra Mind, but you only get the one Elektra Mind flip, and you're gonna want to use Astrograph on that, and you're gonna want to use a more prominent target like Purple Poison Magician and Black Fang Magician at this point, because they're available in multiples, and the Double Iris would just be there as a multiple. I really only want it because I want another monster to get into Zark, and that's the only reason I want it back. So I'd say let's put that to 1. And the last thing I want limited is Stratos, because meme requirement met. Enough said. Moving on to semi-limiteds, let's go ahead and just do 1. I think this is the worst part of the ban list, is the semi-limited, but you know what? Card of Demise, I think that should go down to 2. I don't think it's terrible. It's got a really good downside, but because of what Draco can do with it, because of what theoretically Monarchs would be able to do with it if they had a way to tribute off spells and traps, I think it needs to come down to 2, especially with some other changes I wanted to go ahead and offer for the ban list. Let's go ahead and just bring it down to 2. Let's bring it down a notch. And for the unlimiteds, first things first, let's go ahead and take Book of Moon off there. We have so many cards that have Book of Moon effects. Fairy Tale Snow has a Book of Moon effect. Raijin has a Book of Moon effect. Reusable. And they have a body to them. Bring 3 Book of Moon. Let's go ahead and make anti-meta a thing again. Also, while we're in the same subject, actually, he's kind of a part of the deck I'm working on. The Math Man over here, Mathematician. Let's bring him back to 3. Semi-limited, nothing's going on right now. There's nothing really going with this. Lavalval Chain's still gone. Bring him to 3. Another one I think can come off, Burial from a Different Dimension. There aren't really those sorts of graveyard power decks that really take advantage of that. The most I've seen Burial in is probably, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, I don't think it's even been Infernoids. I feel like it was something else that required graveyard power. I use it a lot in my Magnet Warriors, but I don't like to see it very often anyway. I like having it at 2, frankly. I'll probably still play it at 2 even if it was unlimited, even with the little broken 6-card removal combo that I have hanging out with it, but I don't think it's that great, especially early game. Cut it. And the last thing on the semi list that I think just needs to go unlimited is Chain Strike. And you know, people that hate Chain Burn are up in arms about this. Chain Strike, there are 2 of them right now. Chain Strike's not hurting anybody. Bring it to 3, and I'm sure someone's gonna come up with some degenerate OTK, but you know what? If you're bad enough to the point where Chain Burn is a real big threat to you and you are worried about 3 Chain Burn, just give up and go play Dragon Ball Super because you suck. Get over it. I'm like, get up on my face. And I guess just for a fun 11th card, I couldn't really think of a fun 11th card. Usually I like to go even further beyond. But I just couldn't come up with a good 11th card. I guess if I wanted a random 11th card, let's just go ahead and say Lilybell Band in Trickstars, just because I'm a terrible person like that, and I know that Troy's going to watch this, so putting that out there for you too. But it's not actually part of the list. We're not going to mess with Lilybell. Trickstar I don't think is strong enough and consistent enough and present enough to be necessary on the ban list, so I'm not too worried about that right now. But that's all that we got for today. Thanks again for popping in on the video and smashing those 15 likes. I'm sure they're all going to turn into dislikes since I mentioned Chain Strike at the end. But hey, that's the way it is. That means that I've done something. I've gotten somebody to react. So good work there. But like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you want to see, like maybe your 10 cards that you want to see move up or down on the ban list. And in the meantime, I'm still working on these. God, why is this card limited? This is something I should have mentioned, but oh well. I'll talk about this one later. On that bombshell though, Ace of Bats is signing out.